Titans are known for being all over the world, whether it be in China or the volcanoes of Mexico. One Titan in particular, the longest Titan that'll make you look down and sigh in disappointment, is Tiamat. Tiamat is a very destructive Titan that we see not only in Dominion, but partly in GXK as well. So that brings up a pretty decent question, especially considering how talked about he has been after GXK. How strong is Tiamat? We're going to go over what he does in not only the Dominion comic, but also in Godzilla X Kong. So, starting off in Dominion, we first see him in Godzilla's old lair, as we learn he was the one who killed the rival, the big stupid monkey.
Like his one place is blown up, so he's thinking, oh, but there was this place when I was really young, or younger anyway, that I got driven out of. So in that particular storyline, if it's not clear, what happened was a Kong or several Kong pushed him out of there when he was younger and weaker. And then Tiamat comes along, kills him, kills the Kong. And so when he comes back, he's looking to face a Kong, but instead he ends up facing Tiamat.
So obviously that's not relevant since it's the rival. However, we also see that he killed the Muso Prime among the other corpses that he has killed, seemingly in the cave. Now, it is not the same one from Aftershock, or not as strong as that one, as the one from Aftershock was the strongest one of its kind. But due to the life cycle of a Muso, the Muso Prime should be above the male and female Muso we see in 2014, and the Queen Muso we see in 2019, respectively. Female and male Muso actually did do some pretty significant damage due to 2014, however, he was weakened from the EMP. Next in the comic, we see that he fights Godzilla Dominion directly. We also know from the writer that he is stronger than Scylla and Emeluk, and Godzilla treated them more seriously than Tiamat as he was the bigger threat. And the fight goes on to show this too, as he does much better. We see him under the water, while shading to be weaker, able to wrestle Dominion Godzilla underwater and cutting through him. It also shows he has a pretty interesting blinding ability that really only doesn't work on Godzilla because, he's Godzilla, and of course he has some ability to get around it. Next, for a short appearance in GXK, this is after we learn that he got kicked out of his lair in Dominion. He essentially found a new lair in Antarctica, where he amped himself into a new pink form. As we know, this lair is essentially a stockpile of energy. So he would be very much above his Dominion part, by a lot. And in this form, he could physically wrestle with blue GXK Godzilla, to the point where he could cut through his skin, and even took a bite from him. However, to be fair, he did get one shot with the breath, but obviously he should still scale physically. But now that we know what he has done throughout his appearances, how does he compare to other Titans? And we're going to say for most of these fights that these take place in shallow or deep water, because obviously Tiamat and land just kind of gets fucked. So obviously, as I mentioned before, he would be above the Muso pair. Blue GXK is the same Godzilla, who was stated to just no-diff a Beast Glove Kong. And this is consistent, as not only is it 2021 Godzilla, who's massively weaker than Blue GXK, is above a charged Axe Kong badly. And we also know that Evolve could one-shot Kong without the sand cushioning Evolve's blows.
Well, and see, in the last film, Godzilla won from crushing Kong down. That's sort of his finisher move. But Kong got lucky here because the ground in Egypt gives way and it's sandy, and so the stomping isn't enough to crush him to death. So that's the reason why that move isn't as effective here as it was in the last movie.
Evolve was only 2 times stronger than Blue, while a one-time shot gap is around 8 point times, so this still does apply to Blue GXK. So Tiamat would be able to easily be above Kong, even with his weapons. And while Mecha, you can definitely say, could rangeably Kong, physically Kong and Mecha are on a similar tier when Kong has things like his Beast Glove, and especially the Charged Axe. So therefore he'd be able to overpower Mecha too. Now for Rodan, Mothra, and Muso Prime, Mothra is likely above him, as we see Mothra is able to knock Godzilla Evolved on his ass. And obviously Godzilla Evolved is much stronger than Blue GXK, especially in atomic power. And we also know Mothra could not only take a hit from, but harm Shimu to the point where she could stop Shimu from using her Ice Blast. However, I think the Rodan part really depends if you feel that Rodan scales to GXK Godzilla. Or sorry, Rodan scales to GXK Mothra. As Tiamat does do better against Rodan than his opponent, and I'd say a blue GXK Godzilla is stronger than the weekend holding back Ghidorah that Rodan fought. So, Muto Prime I think is pretty debatable. As we know, Muto Prime can actually fight underwater to a degree. He fought Godzilla in deep water, and is pretty proficient at swimming too. And Muso Prime does have some decent scaling. We know Muso Prime can one-shot Kong and Godzilla, and can also give a pretty decent struggle to Aftershock Godzilla to the point where she could floor, leave deep wounds, and was stated to be above Aftershock at the time, even if Aftershock is a physically stronger foe. So I'll let you guys decide Muso Prime versus Tiamat, since I think that's a pretty close matchup. So overall, I think Tiamat is an incredibly strong Titan compared to some others, and I think it should be talked about more, since while obviously he isn't as the same tier as Godzilla, Ghidorah, or Shimo, he is still incredibly strong on the list, and could give a hard time to some other well-known Titans.